Chosen one, anchor your spirit to what I'm about to say because the test is officially over. That restless stirring you felt at 3:33 this morning when you woke up staring at the ceiling, that wasn't insomnia. That was heaven preparing your crown. I know the last 72 hours have felt like you've been holding your breath underwater. The atmosphere hasn't just been heavy, it's been suffocating, like you're waiting for permission to exhale, but you don't know who's supposed to give it to you. Maybe you've been sitting at your kitchen table this week, coffee getting cold in your hands, staring at nothing, feeling like you're suspended between two worlds. Or maybe you found yourself standing in your bathroom mirror yesterday, looking at your own reflection, like you don't recognize the person staring back at you. Perhaps you've been driving the same route to work, but everything feels different, like you're moving through a dream you can't wake up from. You feel like you're in limbo, caught between who you were and who you're becoming, and the waiting is crushing you. The enemy is working overtime right now for one reason and one reason only. He knows what heaven signed at 3:33 this morning while you were tossing in your bed. It all ends tomorrow. The testing, the proving, the spiritual boot camp that's been breaking you down and building you back up. But here's what you need to understand. It's not ending because you finally got it right. It's ending because you've already proven what needed to be proven. Think back to that moment this week when you wanted to quit completely, when you stared at your phone wanting to send that angry text, but you set it down instead, when you wanted to defend yourself, but you chose silence, when every fiber of your being wanted to give up, but you stayed in the fight for one more day. You didn't know it then, but that moment of restraint was the final answer on your test. That specific choice to stay quiet when you wanted to scream was the act that moved heaven to crown you. You didn't fail the test by staying silent. You passed it. You did not stumble across this message by accident. YouTube's algorithm didn't deliver this to your feed. The Holy Spirit scheduled this divine appointment before the foundations of the earth were laid. You are sitting at the threshold of your coronation. Stay locked in until the final word of this message, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to read you the official verdict from Heaven's court that declares your testing season complete. I'm going to show you exactly which moment this week secured your promotion when you thought you were just surviving another day. And at the end, I'm going to give you the royal decree that seals your new identity and locks the door on who you used to be. Do not scroll past this. The version of you that's been praying for breakthrough is about to receive their answer. If you click away now, you leave before heaven delivers your crown. You feel stuck in an in-between place, and in this space, the enemy has been whispering a very specific lie. Listen to the voice in your head. He's telling you that you're delayed because you didn't fight back hard enough. He's replaying that moment when you walked away from the argument over and over in your mind. That moment when you refused to defend yourself because you were too exhausted to care anymore. The accuser is telling you that your silence was surrender. He's convincing you that because you didn't stand up for yourself, you've somehow disqualified yourself from the blessing that was coming. But I need you to hear what the scripture actually says about this moment. Isaiah 30:15 says, "In returning and rest shall ye be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength." Listen to that promise. In quietness and confidence shall be your strength. The enemy wants you to believe that your silence was weakness. He wants you to think that walking away was defeat. But that is a deception. Your silence wasn't surrender. It was wisdom. Your refusal to engage wasn't fear. It was faith. The restlessness you feel isn't punishment for staying quiet. It's anticipation. It's your spirit recognizing that the season of testing is over and the season of reigning is about to begin. You think that moment when you chose peace over proving your point was a mistake. You think your decision to step back instead of step up was cowardice. But let me reframe your reality right now. That wasn't weakness. That was royalty. Kings don't argue with peasants. They simply walk away and let their crown speak for itself. At 3:33 this morning, while you were lying awake wondering if you made the right choices, heaven was preparing that crown. Your test is over, chosen one. Your coronation begins tomorrow. But here's what you need to understand about this moment you're in right now. That crushing weight you've been carrying isn't the universe punishing you for being quiet. It's a profound internal recalibration. It's your spirit recognizing with an undeniable clarity that you've been operating at a frequency that no longer matches the vibrant, expansive being you are swiftly becoming. Imagine trying to tune an exquisite, finely crafted instrument to a discordant, out-of-date melody. The dissonance is jarring, the strain palpable. That's the feeling you're experiencing. The old version of you, that fiercely protective, often defensive self, would have instinctively fought back. That version of you would have risen to every perceived challenge, armed with sharp words and unyielding justifications, eager to defend every nuance of every position, meticulously ensuring everyone around knew exactly where you stood, planted firmly in your earthly convictions. But that person, that old paradigm of self, is dead now. And in the sacred chambers of your soul, your spirit is engaged in a complex, bittersweet dance. It is mourning the necessary death of who you used to be, gently laying to rest the patterns, beliefs, and reactions that once defined you, while simultaneously, with an exhilarating, nascent joy, celebrating the magnificent birth of who you're becoming, a being of deeper wisdom and sovereign peace. This is the profound truth beneath the surface of your current discomfort. This is precisely why you felt suspended between two worlds, much like a trapeze artist mid-air, having released one bar but not yet grasping the next. Because you are, quite literally, in this profound liminal space. You're no longer the person who feels an insatiable need to prove their worth through exhaustive arguments, intellectual jousting, or relentless self-justification. That desperate striving for external validation has begun to recede. Yet, you're not yet fully, completely, and comfortably walking in the settled authority of someone who truly understands, with every fiber of their being, their inherent, God-given, intrinsic value. You are dwelling in the sacred space between death and resurrection, where the old self undergoes its final dissolution and the new divine self begins to stir and breathe. And yes, it feels intensely like suffocation, a deep, primal pressure against your very being, because transformation, in its most profound and authentic form, always does. It's the intense pressure within the chrysalis as the caterpillar dissolves to become the butterfly. It's the pushing and straining before a new life emerges into the light. It's the discomfort of your spiritual skin shedding, revealing the radiant new growth underneath. And this leads us to something most people miss entirely about divine transitions, a truth that often remains veiled until one is deep within the crucible of change. The enemy, that adversary of your soul's highest potential, doesn't typically attack you the hardest when you're failing, when you're adrift in despair or weakened by missteps. No, his most ferocious, targeted onslaughts come precisely when you are poised on the precipice of a monumental breakthrough, when heaven is about to open wide on your behalf. Think about the young shepherd boy David, called to greatness. The terrifying lion and the formidable bear, those savage beasts, didn't appear after he conquered Goliath. They came before Goliath. They were the testing grounds, the violent proving field that forged his courage and sharpened his skill, preparing him for the giant that would stand between him and his destiny. Consider the children of Israel fleeing Pharaoh's oppressive grip. Pharaoh's army didn't merely pursue them, they pursued Israel the hardest, with a thunderous, relentless fury, just before the impossible miracle of the Red Sea parted, creating a pathway to freedom through what seemed an insurmountable barrier. Remember the disciples, huddled in their small boat on the Sea of Galilee, buffeted by an unexpected violent storm. The storm didn't just hit, it hit the disciples' boat the most violently, threatening to capsize their vessel and their faith, right before Jesus, in an astounding display of divine dominion, walked on water to reach them, silencing the winds and the waves with a single command. These aren't mere coincidences, they are divine patterns, a testament to the enemy's desperate, last-ditch efforts to halt a divinely ordained advancement. Your opposition, the intense pressure, the unrelenting challenges, and the spiritual turbulence you've been experiencing lately has been so visceral, so demanding, precisely because hell recognizes what heaven has already signed, sealed, and delivered while you were peacefully sleeping. The dark principalities know, with chilling certainty, that tomorrow isn't just another mundane day on the calendar. Tomorrow for you is marked by a celestial decree. It is the day your testing season officially ends, and your reigning season, a period of greater authority, influence, and divine manifestation, definitively begins. The spiritual warfare you've felt, the whispers of doubt, the sudden obstacles, the amplified negativity, isn't random chaos or unfortunate coincidence. No, it is meticulously strategic. The enemy is throwing everything he has, every lie, every discouragement, every last ounce of his diminishing power at you right now, in this very moment, because he knows that after tomorrow, after this spiritual threshold is crossed, he won't have the same level of access, the same foothold, or the same influence over your life that he's cunningly exploited during your preparation season. His time is running out, and his desperation is your validation. But here's where it goes deeper, far beyond a simple understanding of spiritual opposition. And here's the part that is truly going to unlock everything for you, unraveling the confusion and bringing clarity to your journey. That specific moment, the one you've been replaying in your mind, agonizing over, perhaps even criticizing yourself for, believing it to be your biggest failure this week. That wasn't a failure at all. That was, in fact, your graduation ceremony. It was that precise, pivotal instant when every instinct in your flesh screamed at you to retaliate, to defend, to fight back with all your might, to unleash the sharp retort or the cutting word that was on the tip of your tongue. Yet something deeper, something profoundly ancient and wise within you, a quiet but firm divine impulse, told you to walk away, to remain silent, to choose peace over proving your point. That wasn't weakness, it wasn't cowardice, and it certainly wasn't surrender. That was your spirit, fully awakened and aware, recognizing its own inherent royalty, a deep, unshakable knowing that your worth transcends the need for external validation or victory in an earthly argument. It was a silent declaration of your sovereign nature. You see, there's an absolutely crucial, often misunderstood difference between backing down and standing up through stillness. When you back down, it's typically a retreat born of fear, fear of confrontation, fear of rejection, fear of consequences. It's a surrender of personal power, often accompanied by feelings of inadequacy or defeat. But when you stand up through stillness, when you choose silence in the face of provocation, you are operating from a place of such profound, unshakable confidence, such deep internal security, that you simply do not need to prove anything to anyone ever again. Your self-worth isn't on trial, and your identity isn't subject to debate. Your silence that day wasn't a gesture of surrender. It was a potent, unyielding declaration of sovereignty. It was the quiet, undeniable roar of a lion resting in its dominion, completely aware of its power, choosing not to engage in petty skirmishes with lesser creatures. And this brings us to the real turning point, the profound paradigm shift that will reframe everything you thought you knew about spiritual warfare and your journey. What I'm about to share with you is going to challenge, in a fundamental way, the very foundations of your understanding of this unseen battle. The enemy's greatest weapon isn't the crude, overt temptation that can be easily identified and resisted. It isn't even the insidious, accusatory whispers that seek to condemn and shame. No, his most cunning, most devastating weapon is far more subtle and deceptive. It is his ability to convince you that your divine responses, your God-ordained reactions to life's challenges, are actually human failures. He wants you desperately to misinterpret your Christ-like behavior, your patience, your grace, your choosing of peace as profound cowardice. He craves for you to see your deepest wisdom, your most strategic, spirit-led restraint, as debilitating weakness. This twisting of truth is his most potent tool, for if he can warp your perception of your own virtues, he can derail your divine trajectory from within. Coming up in just a moment, I'm going to show you exactly why that pivotal moment of restraint, that deliberate choice of silence, was not merely a wise decision, but the specific, powerful act that moved heaven itself to crown you. But first, this foundational truth has to truly land deep within your spirit, settling firmly in your understanding. You absolutely must comprehend that the very thing you've been criticizing yourself for, the very choice you've perhaps felt ashamed or regretful about, is the exact precise thing that didn't just prepare you, but inherently qualified you for what's coming next, for the next level of your divine assignment and authority. It was a cosmic proving ground, and you passed with flying colors. The enemy, in his cunning, has been replaying that moment in your mind over and over again, like a broken record of self-doubt. He does this because he knows, with terrifying certainty, that it was the very moment you demonstrated, beyond any shadow of doubt, that you are truly ready for kingdom authority. He is desperately trying to convince you that you failed a test you actually passed with triumphant, glorious, flying colors. He's relentlessly attempting to shame you for the very behavior, the very divine response that unequivocally demonstrated your readiness to rule, to lead, and to walk in a new dimension of spiritual power. His whispers are designed to erode your confidence, to make you question the very strength you displayed. But let me challenge you with something that's going to profoundly shift your entire perspective, turning your perceived weakness into undeniable strength. What if that crucial moment when you chose inner peace over the fleeting satisfaction of proving your point, when you opted for stillness instead of engagement, wasn't about that specific situation at all, not truly? What if, on a much grander divine scale, it was about heaven observing, testing, and assessing whether you could truly be trusted with real, substantial spiritual power? Because anyone, any person, operating solely from their flesh and ego, can fight when they feel threatened. Anyone can argue, can raise their voice, can defend their stance when they are challenged. These are primal, almost automatic human reactions, but only someone who truly, fundamentally understands their inherent identity, their divine lineage, their unshakable connection to the Most High, can remain calm, poised, and utterly sovereign in the midst of a raging storm when all hell breaks loose around them. That stillness, that quiet confidence, is the true mark of divine authority. Think about Jesus, the King of Kings, when they accused him before the Roman governor Pilate. He stood silently amidst the clamor, the false accusations, the political machinations, and the baying crowd. The scripture says, profoundly, that he answered him not a word. It wasn't because he was incapable of defending himself. He could have summoned legions of angels with a thought. It wasn't because he lacked the eloquence or the truth to dismantle every lie. It was because he knew, with absolute certainty, exactly who he was, a king, the Son of God. And true kings, sovereign rulers, do not feel the need to justify themselves or their actions to their subjects or to those who hold only temporary, earthly power. Their authority is inherent, not granted by human opinion. Your silence that day wasn't a sign of weakness. It was you, in that sacred moment, remembering your royal bloodline, remembering your true identity, and stepping into the quiet, unshakable power that flows from that divine heritage. Now, once you truly grasp that profound truth, once it settles into the deepest chambers of your heart and mind, you are unequivocally ready for this next breathtaking revelation. The restless stirring you've been feeling deep within your being, that persistent, sometimes unsettling agitation, isn't anxiety about whether you made the right choice, whether you should have acted differently. No, it is your spirit, exquisitely tuned to divine frequencies, recognizing with powerful clarity that you've been irrevocably promoted to a level of spiritual authority, wisdom, and understanding where your old responses, your outdated coping mechanisms, your previous ways of interacting with conflict simply no longer serve you. They are obsolete. You cannot, indeed, you must not, fight like a peasant, scrambling for every scrap of validation or defensively warding off every perceived slight when you have been divinely crowned as royalty. You cannot argue with the insecure, reactive fervor of someone constantly seeking to prove their worth when you have been undeniably established by heaven itself as someone who is inherently, unshakably secure in their divine identity and purpose. Your methods must align with your new status, and what's coming next will likely surprise you, perhaps even contradict what your earthly mind might expect, because the ways of the kingdom always do. That crushing weight you've been carrying, that pervasive sense of burden that has settled on your shoulders and in your heart, isn't the burden of making the wrong choice, of failing, or of a karmic debt. No, it is the tangible spiritual weight of the crown that heaven, in its infinite wisdom and trust, placed on your head the very moment you chose profound wisdom over petty warfare. The intense pressure you feel, the spiritual and sometimes physical sensation of being stretched and refined, isn't punishment for past errors. It is, in its purest form, divine preparation. It is your spiritual neck, your entire being, learning to comfortably and gracefully carry the immense weight of the authority that has now been bestowed upon you. It's the strengthening required to hold the scepter of your new dominion. Hidden underneath that profound truth is yet another, deeper layer of understanding, one that is going to completely reframe your entire perception of this challenging but transformative season. Every single moment of restraint you've shown over the past few weeks, every instance where you bit your tongue, chose to walk away, or responded with grace instead of retaliation, hasn't just been a series of individual, isolated tests. No, each of those moments has been meticulously recorded, accumulating as powerful, undeniable evidence, building an irrefutable case in heaven's celestial court. This cumulative evidence has demonstrated, with crystal clarity, that you are undeniably ready for the next, higher level of responsibility, for a greater outpouring of divine power and purpose. Each and every time you made the conscious, difficult choice to walk away from conflict instead of escalating it, each time you chose peace over proving your point, you were demonstrating unequivocally that you could be absolutely trusted with real, potent, and sacred authority. Because here's what most people tragically don't realize about true kingdom promotion, about how divine advancement actually operates. God, the King of all creation, doesn't promote people based on their physical ability to fight, to dominate, to conquer through brute force or aggressive argument. He promotes them instead, based on their profound ability to choose not to fight, to exercise divine restraint, even when they have every earthly right, every justification, and every perceived reason to do so. Anyone with enough anger or ego can swing back when they're hit, can lash out when provoked. That's a natural carnal reaction. But it takes someone with genuine, spirit-imbued authority, someone rooted in an unshakable identity, to stand firmly in their power, radiating peace and unshaken by external chaos, without ever needing to raise their voice, lash out, or prove anything to anyone. That is the true measure of a ruler in God's kingdom. This is where the real, profound transformation begins, the point of no return on your journey of ascending. And this is where I need you to pay very close, focused attention, allowing this truth to penetrate every part of your being. The enemy has been working tirelessly, over time, in the unseen realms, to cunningly convince you that your promotion was delayed, perhaps even derailed, because of that pivotal moment of silence, that moment of divine restraint. He wants you to believe that your quiet strength cost you your blessing. But the truth, the radiant, liberating truth, is exactly the opposite. Your promotion wasn't delayed. It was secured, cemented, and sealed because of that moment of silence. It was your key to unlocking the next level. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share next is the part that profoundly breaks the cycle of self-doubt and confusion completely, dismantling the enemy's narrative once and for all. The reason you felt like you're suspended between two worlds, that unsettling sensation of being neither here nor there, isn't because you're stuck, languishing in some spiritual purgatory. No. It is because you are actively, powerfully transitioning from one significant level of spiritual authority to another, a higher, more expansive dimension of your calling. And this kind of profound spiritual transition, by its very nature, always feels like a kind of death, the death of the old self, the old patterns, the old ways of being, before it can fully blossom into the glorious, triumphant feeling of resurrection, the vibrant birth of the new. It is the dissolution before the creation. And once that clicks, once that truth resonates deeply within you, everything shifts. Your entire perception of this uncomfortable season changes, because suddenly, with a rush of profound clarity, you realize that every single uncomfortable, confusing, or challenging moment of this in-between season has been absolutely necessary, a vital component of your spiritual alchemy. Every single moment when you felt like you were suffocating, struggling for air in confined spiritual spaces, has been crucial preparation for the expansive, liberating breath of fresh air that is definitively coming tomorrow, marking your release into freedom. Every moment when every fiber of your being wanted to defend yourself, to lash out, to justify, but you instead chose silence, chose peace, chose restraint. Each of those instances has been undeniable evidence, etched into the fabric of your soul, that you are more than ready to operate from a place of such deep, unshakable security, such profound inner knowing, that you truly don't need anyone else's validation, approval, or permission ever again. Your worth is intrinsic. Coming up, we'll uncover the hidden habit that's been subtly feeding your delay, even without your conscious awareness, and precisely why tomorrow changes everything for you, opening doors that have seemed stubbornly shut. But first, there's something beneath even that surface-level understanding, a more insidious layer of the enemy's strategy that you absolutely need to see with discerning eyes. The adversary isn't just trying to convince you that your silence was a mistake, that your restraint was wrong. Far deeper than that, he's cunningly trying to convince you that you missed your moment. He's whispering insidious lies into your mind, telling you that because you didn't fight back then, because you chose the path of peace and wisdom, you won't have the opportunity now to step fully and powerfully into your divine purpose. He wants you to believe that your obedience was your undoing. But if you're truly honest with yourself, if you listen to the quiet, unwavering voice of your inner spirit, you know, deep in the very core of your being, that this is a profound lie. Deep in your spirit, in the sacred space where divine truth resides, you know that walking away, that act of conscious restraint, wasn't cowardice. No, it was an act of immense, profound courage. It took infinitely more strength, more self-mastery, more spiritual discipline to stay quiet, to hold your peace, than it would have taken to explode in righteous anger or unleash a torrent of justified words. It took exponentially more faith to trust God's ultimate defense, to believe in His sovereign justice, than it would have taken to vehemently defend yourself, attempting to control the narrative through your own limited power. Your quiet strength was a declaration of unwavering trust in a higher power, and just when you think you've truly got it, that you've grasped the full scope of this revelation, there's one more profound layer that needs to be peeled back, revealing an even deeper truth about your current experience. The real reason this season has felt so intensely suffocating, so utterly overwhelming at times, isn't because you're being punished for your past choices, for your perceived failures, or for any missteps. No, the truth is far more empowering and purposeful. It's because you are being meticulously prepared, honed, and refined for a level of authority, influence, and spiritual dominion that requires a completely different way of operating, a paradigm shift in your very mode of being. You simply cannot effectively rule a vast, glorious kingdom with the same survival mindset you once used to merely survive in the barren, restrictive conditions of exile. The old wineskins cannot hold the new wine. But wait, before you move forward and fully embrace the implications of this, you absolutely need to see this crucial truth with crystal clarity. The heaviness, the intense weight you've been carrying, that often feels like a crushing burden, isn't the weight of your mistakes, your shortcomings, or your past errors. It is instead the magnificent, weighty mantle of your divine assignment. It is your spirit, your entire being, actively adjusting, expanding, and strengthening itself to carry something far bigger, far more significant, and infinitely more impactful than anything you've ever been trusted with before. The pressure you feel, that internal and external squeezing, isn't evidence that you're not ready, that you're somehow inadequate for the task. On the contrary, it is undeniable evidence that you are being prepared, forged in the crucible of divine training, for something that requires you to be stronger, more resilient, and more deeply rooted in your identity than you have ever been in your entire life. This pressure is forging a diamond from coal. And here's the part that perhaps no one truly wants to hear, the truth that can be challenging to accept because it flies in the face of conventional wisdom. But it is the profound truth that will ultimately set you absolutely free. The reason your testing season, this period of intense spiritual refinement and challenge, is ending tomorrow isn't because you finally learned to fight better, to articulate your points more sharply, or to win every argument. It is, paradoxically and powerfully, because you have finally learned when not to fight at all. You have mastered the art of divine discernment and sovereign restraint. The kingdom of heaven, the spiritual realm in which you are now learning to operate, functions on completely different principles, an entirely different operating system than the kingdom of this world. In this earthly world, strength is often superficially measured by how hard you can hit back, how fiercely you can defend your territory, or how loudly you can assert your dominance. But in heaven's eternal kingdom, true strength, genuine spiritual power, is measured by how profoundly secure you are in your divine identity, how unshakable you are in your inner peace, that you have no need, absolutely no need, to hit back at all. Your power comes from within, not from external reaction. And yet, there's something beneath even that profound understanding, an even deeper, more subtle layer of truth that most people never truly discover, remaining perpetually caught in the enemy's traps. The adversary's real insidious strategy wasn't ultimately to make you fight, to engage in earthly arguments or conflicts. No, His true, deeper objective was to cunningly make you feel guilty, deeply ashamed, and profoundly insecure for not fighting, for choosing the path of wisdom and peace. He knew with cunning precision that if he could just convince you that your profound wisdom was actually a weakness, that your Christ-like restraint was cowardice, he could successfully keep you operating from a place of insecurity, self-doubt, and diminished self-worth, even after you had unequivocally demonstrated through your actions that you were more than ready for true kingdom authority. He seeks to undermine your perception of your own promotion, to keep you small even when you are meant to be mighty. This brings us to something that's truly going to challenge everything you thought you knew about the very nature of spiritual warfare, forcing a complete recalibration of your understanding. The battle isn't solely about resisting overt temptations or fending off direct spiritual attacks.